So, there are cases of thyroid reversals actually. That actually initially I thought, okay, it is maybe something fluke, but then I researched and, at least, we know about metabolic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, PCOS, obesity, but this is something which was unusual actually, remission of.
Welcome back to Circee Health Pod. We're excited to join you again and excited to have with us another special guest. This time we have a co-warrior in the plant-based medicine revolution, as I guess I've just named it right
kind
now.
of give it away. But
So I will turn it over to Ajoy to introduce her.
so this lady wears multiple hats. Again, I was hard pressed to kind of condense. I was looking at her LinkedIn profile and I just went on for pages. So I was like, okay, what should I choose out of this to talk about? So I've chosen 5 things to mention to our listeners and viewers, hopefully. First of all, she's a very respected doctor. I've talked to many doctors in and around Mumbai and Bangalore. The only places that I know much about. And, she's well known. She has an MBBS and uniquely, and this is something that, she and I share, which I don't know whether she knows that I also have an MBA. So that's one thing. The second is that she is a diplomat in the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine, which is phenomenal because we want people to know about lifestyle medicine. We've talked about it to our viewers before, listeners before. She is a co-founder of Vivriti Foundation, which facilitates better learning in early childhood, which is a very important aspect, and I commend her for that. And most importantly, this is something that we are both passionate about. She regularly mentors medical students and medical postgrads, MDs and all, because she feels passionate about, the benefits of a healthy eating or lifestyle medicine. So without much further ado, I present to you Dr. Rajeena Shahin.
Thank you for that wonderful intro.
Most welcome.
Basically, yeah, I just want to clarify a bit there, basically I do 2 levels of mentoring. One is with a team of professionals like nutritionists and other people. I do mentor people with respect to their healthy eating habits. And I also, right now getting into mentoring medical students and PGs and healthcare professionals as part of PAN India's mission, Physician Association for Nutrition, India's mission, actually. So, yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Actually, it's wonderful, actually, that people like you are coming with this kind of podcast and, platforms to disseminate this information to the public. It's beautiful that we are all in the same journey, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll just jump right in because we are hard pressed for time. So we'll start shooting questions at you, and and we'll try to make it like a chat. But I think some essentials we need to get in there, right? So, what do you think, Jen?
Yeah. So I guess just kind of starting from the beginning, if you can talk to us about your medical training and I guess more so your journey as a plant-based physician and how you reached there.
Yes, that's something which I'd love to share. Basically, I did my medicine, MBBS, we call it MBBS in India. So I did that from TD Medical College, which is in Alapi, which is in Kerala. I moved out of Kerala in early 2000 because I got married and came to Bangalore. That time I didn't have much of idea what to do, but then I joined few hospitals like Manipal and St. Philomena's as resident medical officer. While I was working there, I really understood that this is not something what I want to do, where you're going to a gastro department as an intern and you see people dying every day in spite of having lots of medication, lots of procedure. So really one of the patients that really kind of devastated me. And then I resigned the job and decided that I want to do something a little different. And I got into, I tried for 1 year research in actually pure research, which is something about molecular biology. I tried for TAFR and I was in the last round. I didn't get through. Then I decided to go into clinical research. I did a course in clinical research for 1 year. I got into one of the clinical research CRO. There I was working in something called, chronic lifestyle diseases. Basically, they are into nutraceuticals and things like that to manage lifestyle diseases, which actually got a lot of interest in me because I always wanted to be working in preventive health than or health optimization than a lot of these medication and pharmaceutical agent based treatment. So then I really kind of dwelled deep into it, and I got connected with multiple people across the globe. I remember even speaking with some of these researchers in MD Anderson. I think those kind of things have helped me to kind of get or develop an interest in the field, actually. Then I worked
Mm.
for some time, got out of the job, and then started this company called Invest on Health. Invest on Health is basically got out of the company. There is a reason why I got out of the company because my husband, he was in early 30s. He got metabolic diseases. One time when I was pregnant with my child, my mother-in-law and both of them are traveling, and he had to really get admitted in one of the hospitals hereby. And when I went there, he was in a cardiac ICU. The BP was
Wow.
has shot up so much, and then we really understood that this is something which we need to really work on. And he was
Wow.
already in metabolic, developed metabolic conditions.
Explanatory pause here. Let me explain what a metabolic syndrome is. We clinicians sometimes talk about metabolic condition, or more accurately, metabolic syndrome. The definition of this syndrome is the presence of 3 out of 5 criteria: either a large waist time, increased blood pressure, raised blood markers such as fat in the blood, which is a typical type of fat that we look for is called triglyceride, or a reduction in the type of fat in the blood called high density lipoprotein or HDL cholesterol, and finally an increase in the sugar level. This metabolic syndrome increases a person's risk of diabetes, heart attack, and stroke. Let's keep listening.
And he had to undergo a surgery, robotic surgery for his kidney stone, and many other stuff. But one moment in time, after 1 or 2 months, we decided that how long will you go on with these medications? He was on medication for hyperuricemia.
Explanatory pause here. What is hyperuricemia? Your kidney normally gets rid of poisons in the body, such as uric acid. When this acid is not eliminated, it remains in the bloodstream, and we can look for it in lab tests in your blood, right? Hyperuricemia is an increase in uric acid that is caused usually by eating meat, particularly organ meats. However, it can also be caused by us eating seafood, increased alcohol consumption, and at times due to genes. Having a higher body weight also makes one increase uric acid in their blood. This increase can lead to chronic kidney disease and gout. Think of it as a type of painful arthritis. The kidney disease can compound matters if you're already overweight or have diabetes. Let's keep listening.
Hypertension
Mm.
and pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes, they didn't put him on
Mm.
medication, luckily.
Wow.
So then we decided one day, like he was carrying our daughter and coming up, and after 1 year or so, he decided that I don't want to be on medication such a young age. His father also
Mm-hmm.
passed away at 56, and so he had that fear. So he decided that he wants to change his lifestyle, and we started off with having a lot of salads. That's what we knew about that time. That was in 2011, 12. So we didn't know
Mm.
much about all these healthy
Mm.
eating, and so we started with a lot of salads, cutting down on meat and oil and things like that. And within 8 months to 1 year, he kind of reversed all his conditions. He was running. He
Mm.
was,
Wow.
half marathon. He has. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, he was around 110 kgs. He came down to 85 or so, looking handsome,
Wow.
smart. Yeah, beautiful it was. So it was a great experience. And then, seeing him, there are a lot of friends who came to us, especially for cholesterol management, diabetes management. Meanwhile, I was doing those things. And then
Mhm.
we decided, why can't we do something, with the tech support to kind of help people to make these transformations. Actually, that's how IOH, Invest on Health, the company which I run right now, started. But the technical division had to stop because of many reasons. It was not, the market itself was not really ready for it. But the medical division, the clinical part is still working. We have people working in IOH, helping people making these transformations. My vegan journey during this time in 2000, we were already very low on animal products, fat, oil, those things from 2011, 12 till 15, 16. Then I started really getting introduced to lifestyle medicine as a specialty. I was reading a lot about it and things like that. Started attending few vegan events. Watched a lot of these videos, including the climate-related ones. One few of
Yeah.
Yeah,
them like forks over knives,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then what the health, those kind of
Mm-hmm.
videos. So one of the days I was really literally very low on animal products around 3.5 years back. And my daughter told, like, I don't want to be, she was like 10 years old. She told me that, both of us actually, she told me, I don't want to be part of this cruelty anymore, actually. So then she decided that I just want
Good.
to turn vegan. So we thought, okay, it is just for some time. We also thought we'll support. So my husband also, all three of us turned vegan that day. And, my husband was, turned vegan for quite short period, but we have been continuing on that journey for like now 3.5 years actually. And
Oh, wonderful.
it is basically the decision is initially based on something about ethicality. We don't want to be part
Mm-hmm.
of that culture of cruelty and things like that. But later, a lot of it came to environment, health, and now actually, like we also encourage people to turn off a lot of animal products. That's how the whole
That's
journey happened.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, you already talked about your husband's journey and what really drove you, and of course, your daughter saying, "Oh, I want to be vegan." Um, and one of the things, I apologize. I mentioned all these things, but the main thing that you're running, the Invest on Health, I did not mention. I'm glad you kind of brought that up. So, can you talk to us about some of, let our listeners understand what some of your patient stories or outcomes were like when they came in to, when they were fixed, if you will. That would be phenomenal for our listeners to understand, what goes on. It's not just us talking about it, but other doctors like you.
Basically, when they come, like as usual, because of the lifestyle or dietary excess diseases, when they come, they're already in a desperate state. First of all, obesity, on top of all these diseases, then work is getting affected, multiple infections because of those, and hospitalizations. So they're already in a state to listen to you. But at the same time, there are a lot of sentiments associated with this eating habit. If you like somebody who's a
Hmm.
meat eater, and you're asking them to completely cut off meat, so that will not happen in the first phase. So we educate
Yeah.
them
Right.
regarding, how meat or dairy product is affecting their health, actually, including saturated fat and the dairy related hormones and things like that over a period of time, because there is an yeah, indication, right? For them, they need to get their health better. There was a client from
Hmm.
Middle East, I still remember him. He was not ready to cut down on meat at all, okay, because he
Hmm.
was when we asked him how much meat are you taking from the family, we understood that they are taking 2.5 kg of meat for 3 people for a week, and
What?
majority of that is, yes, majority of that is consumed by him, and his kidney
Wow.
was failing, okay, and young guy, and he was not ready to make that shift. So here I'll give you the thing, because he went back to his he was with us. He was ready to make some changes for a few months. He cut down completely on meat and dairy, and his creatinine level from 3.7, it came down to 2 or something.
Explanatory pause here. What is creatinine now? Creatinine is a compound produced when our bodies break down muscles or other proteins. It's a waste product, really, that is eliminated from the body usually by the kidneys. If the kidneys are doing a good job, the creatinine levels in the body are low. If they start to increase, it indicates a poorly functioning kidney. Normal human beings have have a creatinine level of zero point 0.7 to 1.3 milligrams per deciliter. That's per 100 ml. Um, Slightly lower values for women, of course, because of their muscle mass, but that's too much detail here. So obviously, let's go back. So obviously, as kidney disease progresses, the level of creatinine in the blood rises. Suffice to say that a normal human being should have numbers below 1.3, right? Which tells us that their kidneys are functioning well. Let's keep listening.
So he got a
Wow.
Mm.
real kind of, that is a kind of aha moment. So he decided to continue on that. He went back to his nephrologist, the best part was the nephrologist also asked him to go on a plant-based diet, actually, more of plants.
Great.
That is something which is amazing. So it actually, that happens only once a while. It doesn't happen all the time.
Yes, we know, yes.
And, there are a few other cases like, somebody who, like who was actually, this person was not high on animal meat, but the person was high on dairy products. Actually, she was eating 5-6 dairy servings a day. Okay. And on top of it, she was also having a lot of refined carbohydrate and also a lot of packaged juices, actually. And her when she came to me, it was the HbA1c was around 13.7, and 4 months she brought it down to 5.2.
Explanatory pause here. HbA1c or hemoglobin A1c used to be called glycosylated hemoglobin, which is a compound that is formed in our blood when too many sugar molecules, or more accurately, glucose molecules, are floating around in our body. They land up combining with our oxygen carrying molecule called hemoglobin and form hemoglobin A1c. We clinicians use this as a marker to identify the progression of diabetes because this number goes up and down very slowly. Apparently, it takes about 3 months for the number to change significantly. Normal numbers really should be below 5.7%. If they are between 5.7% and 6.4%, then we say that the person is pre-diabetic, which means they do not get it. If they do not get it under control soon, they will become diabetic. We consider it a good warning sign because then we can intervene and turn the numbers around. Of course, if they are over 6.7%, that does not mean that, of course, we say that the person has diabetes, but, it's not the end of the world. We can still help reverse it, right? Let's keep listening.
Wow.
That's incredible.
There is another client who is from Ghana. It's not a lot of foreign clients also there because we have the platform which can serve this. So the person, again came to me with weight loss as an indication, but he initially was not ready to talk a lot about his health, but in due course of time, he kind of shared all the information, everything, Then actually he started the journey. In 1 year, he went back to his cardiologist after losing around 17 kgs. His cardiologist is in Dubai or somewhere. And he said that his cardiac function improved, actually. He never expected that to happen. Yeah. So there are a lot of stories like this, actually. It's not one, lots. There are cases of thyroid reversals, actually. That actually initially I thought, okay, it is maybe something fluke, but then I researched and, at least, we know that about metabolic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, PCOS, obesity, but this is something which was unusual, actually, remission of rheumatoid arthritis for 1 year, 2 years. These are kind of things which we see normally in our clinic.
Typically, and it's a nice, pleasant surprise. It has happened to us also. We don't want to, talk about our cases, but we want to concentrate on yours. But it's happened where we are surprised. We're like, whoa, we did not think that that would happen. And, you look through the literature and still you don't find that many cases. But still, I'm happy. I'm happy that the patient is, holding a glass without a problem and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Did you have a question for her?
I guess when dealing with your patients, when, what has been the most difficult aspect for you, I guess, in terms of them, I don't want to say pushing back, but we've noticed a couple like sticking points with patients where they're reluctant to do certain things. Have you noticed anything in your practice that has been like more difficult kind of humps to get over with the patients to get them to where they need to be?
Yes, always. There is only those 30% of the people who are ready to make the transformation and stick on with it. And that 70% always have problems. One of the major problems which we face is basically related to women, especially in their, menopausal age group, at least above 40 years. A lot of them comes with a lot of, already they're having health problems. Look-wise also, they have a lot of not so confident about their looks, body shaming happening at some level. So they're already in a depressive state. So actually when these kind of people comes, at least that I should say that 30 or 40% of women folks are in this group, not always housewives, working women are doing something impactful. Still, they have that insecurity related to their looks and their health and things like that. So when these kind of people come, there is a lot of challenges we face because a lot of it is associated with emotional eating. A lot of it is associated with the kind of peer pressure and many of those things. So what we do, these people, is actually we also have somebody, a psychotherapist, a psychologist supporting them. We do a lot of meditation. There is a meditation yoga person who give them this kind of mindful meditation, which also helps them to control these emotional behaviors. So this behavioral adaptation, behavioral change takes a longer time. Also, it is like a wavy pattern, unlike like a straight up for these kind of people, actually. So this is something which I feel is the most challenging in my practice, at least, actually. But with the behavioral adaptation, once they change, they see the result, but there's no going back. But it takes a lot of effort than a regular person.
Yeah, that's true. I think we, even as doctors, we forget how important the behavioral emotional component is, especially with a lifestyle change. So that's amazing that you have the psychotherapy and, kind of the yoga meditation. I think that's huge and important to know that it's not just medicine and food, just other, obviously that's why it's lifestyle medicine. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's not a question, it's more like a statement. I'm sure you're finding it empowering a little bit when people see you and you basically say, I am doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. And look at my health and look at the health transformations that I've had in my personal life or my family and so on and so forth. So,
that I keep actually, to be impactful, I keep talking that everywhere. Basically, I used to post a lot of these social media stuff, like, how we transform, how we look and things like that. But, one moment in time, I realized that that also creates a lot of nuisance, unwanted attention, which sometimes is not required when you're doing something impactful, or you need to have a system to manage those unwanted attention. But yesterday, when I went to the medical college to meet BMCRI, Bangalore Medical College, to meet the younger crowd, I was talking, I'm in my 40s, do you think I'm in my 40s? They all thought, okay, my 30, early 30 and all, actually. Yeah. So, that is something which we all sell, right? This is after effect of our lifestyle. So we all sell that, actually. Yeah, that is something which is even my husband's case when he was at the top of his health. Right now, he is not. He's again coming back. Sometimes some people get into a relapse, actually. My husband's case, he had to travel a lot to Kerala, so he was away from home during some project and all. So there was a relapse. Lapse and there was a relapse, actually. Now he's getting back. So when he was at the top of his health, there were a lot of people seeing him because he was such an obese person, and suddenly he has become so slim and healthy. A lot of people came to me asking for support and help and things like that.
So at this point, we should end this part, and we'll continue on in the next part. But in the meanwhile, our listeners can go to our website.
In case you are just so excited for the next one that you can barely contain yourselves and you miss the sound of our voices, they'll always be there for you on circeehealth.com/podcast. Did we mention that?